What's up everyone? This video had to be made. It had to be made because as a YouTube viewer and a content creator, I felt the need to speak out about some of the things that have been happening with YouTube over the last number of weeks, months and years. I'm going to be talking about a few issues that are now becoming a problem, and these issues are interconnected, from outright censorship to promoting content that YouTube is agreeable to new policies that negatively impact the vast majority of content creators. I'm going to try and untangle the current web we find ourselves in. Be sure to watch the entire video because at the end we're going to hear from the top person at YouTube, and what she has to say goes a long way in telling us what YouTube really thinks of content creators, and her words also gives us an insight into what YouTube is going to look like in the future. YouTube is one of the oldest and is by far the biggest video platform on the internet, and the massive success comes from countless creators from all over the world uploading video content onto the platform. YouTube owes absolutely everything to these content creators, and these content creators come in all shapes and sizes, and for a long time YouTube allowed people to upload pretty much whatever they wanted. If the content was legal, it remained. But all that is changing, and YouTube is now making more and more decisions to remove certain content that even just a year or two ago would have remained with no problem. And there's no better example of that than probably the most famous YouTuber of them all, PewDiePie. For many years, PewDiePie was the most popular channel on YouTube, and right now is still in the top 5. His journey epitomizes what the core of YouTube used to be. One individual with some basic equipment creates a YouTube channel from his bedroom, and a number of years later is a massive superstar. That's the power of YouTube, and also the power of individuals. And while YouTube was more than happy to allow PewDiePie to flourish for many years, things have been changing. There were allegations back in October of 2020 that his content was being shadow banned. YouTube denied this and suggested that maybe the video in question was flagged for manual review. So while that situation is unclear, 4 months later in February of this year, YouTube made a very clear move and removed one of PewDiePie's videos. The video in question was a diss video he made about the CoComelon YouTube channel. So why did they remove this video? They gave their answer on Twitter. In response to someone's tweet about the banning, they claimed the video violated 2 policies, one related to child safety and the other to harassment. Regarding the child safety policy, YouTube claims the issue is that the video targeted minors, and because the video had inappropriate content for minors, he broke the policy. So the issue isn't that the video had mature content per se, it was that they claim he targeted minors as the audience for the video. It was YouTube who highlighted the relevant text in yellow. It's worth noting that they didn't highlight the section underneath, which explains that when people upload videos, they are obligated to select the target audience based on the content of the video, and given the fact they didn't highlight this part, it's highly likely that PewDiePie didn't select the option to say the video was targeting kids. If he had clicked this option, then the video would have violated the policy. Given the nature of the content of the video, it's very clear to me that PewDiePie intended to target an older audience. So in my opinion, YouTube's claim that it targeted kids doesn't stand up. Their second claim is that the video broke their harassment policy, and once again they highlighted the relevant sections. They claimed that the video encouraged abusive audience behavior, as well as inciting hostility between creators. Again, I don't agree that the video broke this policy. While the video has some foul language and imagery that could be described as violent, there is a whole context around the video that YouTube ignored, and having watched the video, their claims are extremely weak. YouTube ignored the bigger context of the video, and the fact it was all done as a joke. The violence in the video was in the form of PewDiePie and some kids tearing up watermelons using various instruments and weapons, and it's clear that PewDiePie used professionals to make the video, and from a production point of view, it was very well made. But the bigger context is that PewDiePie made the video because the CoComelon channel was catching up to his, and he made this video because he did this previously with another channel, T-Series, which was the first channel to overtake PewDiePie as the most subscribed channel on the platform. And this context absolutely matters regarding the claim of harassment and hostility. Nobody looking at the CoComelon in this video and the context behind it could seriously claim that PewDiePie was inciting hostility, yet this is what YouTube argued. And to me, I find it interesting that they came up with 2 policy violations. One clear violation would have been enough, but instead they come up with 2 weak ones, and this line from their Twitter account is very telling. But with both policies in mind, this video crossed the line. This is the problem. There is no definitive line with either of the policies. The assertions made are open to interpretation. For the first policy, YouTube is trying to mind read PewDiePie by claiming he targeted kids, and for the second policy, They're trying to claim that PewDiePie attempted to persuade his audience into engaging in abusive behavior. The fact that they're making such claims about the most famous and biggest independent content creator of all time doesn't bode well for the rest of us. If they can do this to PewDiePie, they can do it to anyone. Later, I'm going to highlight another YouTuber who has recently become a target, but now I'm going to look at something YouTube did recently that really aggravated me, and I'm sure many others felt the same way. One day I was uploading a video and happened to notice something new. It was a checkbox which allows people to sample your content. And to my horror, I realized it was automatically checked. That's right, YouTube automatically opted in all my videos to be used by others to make their own videos. There was no advance notice they would do this. Also, there was no quick and easy way to uncheck this option at the channel level, and instead, YouTube creators were left with the incredibly annoying task of having to go through each video one by one in order to not allow others to use their content. Since then, YouTube has made the process easier, but it still requires users to go through each video to deselect. Quite frankly, the whole way they went about this is really dishonest and sneaky. YouTube is now actively encouraging users to take content from others and reuse it. Let me go back 1 second to the PewDiePie incident and the second policy violation: persistently inciting hostility between creators for financial gain. Let me ask this question: does it not incite hostility when a video hosting platform allows and encourages users to take content from each other and reuse it? Imagine working incredibly hard on a video, spending hours and hours on it, getting a small number of views, and then waking up one day and seeing your hard effort stolen by somebody else, and that video getting a massive amount of views and being monetized by somebody else. This move is all part of a new push to promote what they call shorts. Shorts are videos that need to adhere to certain criteria, the most important of which is video length. These videos have to be less than 1 minute long, and has come about as a result of the success of TikTok. After seeing the huge success of TikTok, YouTube now wants a piece of the action and is currently aggressively pushing YouTubers to make short videos. And quite frankly, the vast majority of these videos are clickbait nonsense, with clickbait thumbnails and titles to get those all-important clicks. And with all this pushing of shorts, better quality content is pushed to the side in favor of cheap clicks, which may have some short-term benefits, but in the long run, I think YouTube as a whole will suffer because of it. For every low-effort short clip appearing on your screen, that's one less high-quality video from an independent creator being promoted. My next gripe has to do with what I just mentioned: content exposure, and who YouTube decides to promote. YouTube has its infamous mysterious algorithm which decides what content is put on the screens of users, but I'm leaving the algorithm to one side because I want to focus on what YouTube does in a very deliberate way, decisions made by humans rather than the algorithm. It's very clear to me that as a viewer, the platform promotes certain content outside of the algorithm. Executives at the company decide what content to put on the home page. They make deals with certain channels and promote these accordingly. Ironically, given what they did to him with the Cocomelon video, PewDiePie actually signed up with YouTube to exclusively live stream on their platform in 2020. But the one type of promotion that bothers me the most is that of major networks. Even though I rarely watch clips from them, my user feed is filled non-stop with content from the major US TV networks. People began watching YouTube back in the day as an alternative to mainstream television, but now we see YouTube aggressively promoting video clips from TV networks. Here is a screenshot with YouTube's COVID-19 news section, which is on the homepage. Almost all the videos being promoted are from the major TV networks. And it doesn't stop there. Here is a screenshot of YouTube advertising one of their products on the homepage, YouTube TV. This is basically cable TV streamed online by YouTube, putting them in direct competition with traditional cable TV companies. So not only is YouTube pushing clips from big TV networks on their base platform, they are now at the heart of traditional television. It's very clear that YouTube is trying to move away from its roots and get more heavily involved in older models of content using the internet. And I find it quite funny that they are using the TV shows Friends and The Simpsons to advertise this product. Friends ended 17 years ago, and The Simpsons jumped the shark about 25 years ago. Yet YouTube is plastering their homepage with these TV shows rather than promoting YouTube content creators. This is bad news for those who dream of being the next PewDiePie. For every clip from a major network appearing on your screen, that's one less video from an independent creator being promoted. So between shorts and major TV networks, those content creators who are at the heart and soul of what made YouTube great are now getting pushed aside as YouTube transitions into something different. Now I want to return to censorship and talk about another person on YouTube that was recently censored and given strikes on his channel, which essentially means that YouTube is taking action to ban his channel completely. That person is Brett Weinstein, who hosts his Dark Horse podcast on YouTube. YouTube removed a video of his which features a doctor who spoke about ivermectin as a treatment for the coronavirus. Weinstein told everyone on his Twitter account that YouTube claimed it violated its policies on spam, deceptive practices, and scams. I'm not going into the details of COVID-19 and everything surrounding it. Instead, I'm going to focus on how YouTube dealt with Weinstein. To put it clearly, the video in question did not violate the guidelines YouTube claimed it did. Here's a screenshot of the page on Google's website which further explains what these policies are about. The video did not contain any spam, there were no deceptive practices, and also there was nothing that could be defined as a scam. What YouTube did was go through their policies and try to find something they thought would stick. Well, this claim didn't stick and they were called out for this. Weinstein complained about it and YouTube returned with another explanation, this time saying the video violated policies related to the coronavirus. Here is the policy in question. It states clearly that content that recommends ivermectin as a treatment for COVID-19 is not allowed. So why did YouTube not cite this violation originally, and instead resort to a ridiculous claim that the video contained spam, deceptive practices, or scams? I don't know the answer to that. One explanation could be that they updated the policy after Weinstein uploaded the video, but I'm not sure when ivermectin was added to the policy. If it was there before Weinstein's video, then it's very strange that they didn't cite this policy against him originally. So the main point in this is that YouTube will resort to a vague policy to remove your video if they don't like your content. They will make assertions that your video violates certain policies when in fact they don't. This is clear in the case of Weinstein. And this leads us finally to the big boss. Susan Wojcicki is the CEO of YouTube. She had some things to say in an interview she did a few months ago that you might be interested in hearing about. An article on reclaimthenet.org highlighted something very revealing that she said in that interview. While speaking about the Las Vegas shooting, she said a lot of misinformation was spread about the event and pointed out the importance of getting accurate information from authoritative sources. This is exactly what she said, and it's much easier to just make up content and post it from your basement than it is to actually go to the site and to be able to report and have high quality journalistic reporting. And there you have it. This is what Susan thinks about YouTube creators. YouTube creators are basement dwellers who spread made-up information on their platform. Now, if she says this in an interview that anyone can watch online, imagine what's said in private meetings within YouTube. Because Susan is not the only important person at YouTube who has mentioned basements with regards to YouTubers. From the same article, it points out that YouTube's Chief Product Officer, Neil Mohan, also mentioned the B word in an interview. Here is what he said when talking about wearing face masks. And so, as opposed to, it's somebody espousing their opinions about a mask, in their basement. Can you imagine the conversations these people are having with each other behind closed doors at YouTube? If they're making derogatory comments in interviews about YouTubers making videos in their basements, then it would be fascinating to be a fly on the wall at some of these meetings. Beyond the insulting basement remarks, these interviews also confirm what I spoke about earlier. The top people at YouTube are openly saying that they boost what they deem to be authoritative sources at the expense of small independent creators. This video is getting long, and if you've made it this far, then thank you for watching. This is a small channel which is just over 2,600 subscribers and is all about flags. And this is just about the only video on the channel which is not about flags. If you think what I've spoken about is important and would like to spread the word, then please share this video as much as you can. Also, let me know what you think about the topics I've covered in the comment section. This channel also has a Discord server, and I will leave a link in the description if you want to join. If this video gets attention, then I might do some follow-up videos regarding YouTube in the future. But for all the regular viewers of the channel, you'll be glad to know that it'll be back to flag related videos after this one. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.